Internment, the Untold Stories. This is the title of a very special original production by TLN Media Group about hundreds and hundreds of Italian Canadians who were wrongly imprisoned during World War II. No better time could have been chosen for the world premiere of this documentary because the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, just issued an apology for mistreatment of Italian Canadians during World War II. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with Minister of Justice and Attorney General of Canada, David Lametti.
How are you today?
Thank you very much for being with us. First of all, how do you feel? What are your feelings and your thoughts about this important event?
Well, I'm obviously quite emotional, especially in the role that I am in. I'm the first Justice Minister of Italian origin in Canada, and this, to me, is closure on something that is particularly offensive to a Justice Minister. That is, these Italian Canadians, some were Canadian citizens, some were Italian citizens. They were denied their fundamental rights, and they weren't given due process. They weren't allowed to defend themselves. They were rounded up without formal arrest. They were never given a chance to defend themselves. They didn't have the usual legal guarantees that we expect in a justice system. And so, for a Justice Minister to be able to be the Justice Minister, to be an Italian Canadian, to be in place while this apology is happening is very important. We are allowing the families closure. We're finally saying your fathers and your grandfathers were never charged with anything. We're never convicted of anything. We're not guilty of anything, and we are apologizing. We're saying sorry.
Minister Lametti, now all seems to be very far in time. But there was a lot of suffering. Do you have any special connection or memories related to stories like this?
Well, I came after, my parents came after the war, so they weren't among the groups of internees. What is striking is that the stories weren't told. There was a real sense of vergogna or shame amongst the families, and so they covered it up. Some families never taught their children Italian because of it. Some families tried to change their names. And I only found out 3 weeks ago that one of my high school classmates from Welland, Ontario, was the granddaughter of an internee, and her family never discussed it publicly. And yet he was a doctor in Welland, Ontario. He was a well-known and well-loved doctor. It was a shock to everyone when he was interned. And there was great community support when he finally did get out. And I didn't know this. And so that touched me personally, because this was so typical of many of the families not wanting to speak of what had happened.
Of course. Mr. Lametti, TLN Media Group is very proud to premiere a very special documentary on this, the Internment, the Untold Story. And you were instrumental to this documentary. You took part in it.
Well, I'm not sure I was instrumental. I think TLN did the great job, and the documentary filmmakers did a great job with it. It was a pleasure to be involved with it. It is important that we tell the story. One of the reasons why we're apologizing is to make this an educational moment. This happened to Italian Canadians. They came home. They worked hard. They taught their children to be good Canadian citizens. And so this is a story that needs to be told to other Canadians. This is a story that needs to be told widely. We're talking about asking. I like the way it's framed in Italian, because we say chiedo scusa, right? So it's the government really asking for forgiveness in issuing this apology. The Italian Canadians in question long ago forgave Canada. They became loyal citizens, and they worked hard. They had their children educated and their grandchildren. And there is no greater testament to loyalty than that.
Of course. Minister Lametti, how important it is that multicultural media like TLN keep telling these stories, these relevant stories, to the communities and to Canada at large?
It's critically important. It's a unique part of Canada. You are helping to continue a unique Canadian tradition, this tradition of multiculturalism. You're helping to keep this story alive for the Italian community and for other communities. And obviously, I feel very strongly about your role in keeping the Italian language alive in Canada.
Thank you. Thank you very much.